Thanks, Chris, and thanks to you for tuning in. Tonight's lead, no hiding from Biden. For months, Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan have been running from their records, hiding their extreme far-right agenda behind platitudes and vague promises. Trying to pin them down on specifics was like trying to nail Jell-O to the wall. But that all stopped last night. We'll talk about all of it in the show tonight. How Vice President Biden took the fight to Paul Ryan on issue after issue. On taxes, on Medicare, on abortion, on their plan to privatize Social Security and to gut Medicare. Joe Biden simply dismantled the Romney-Ryan worldview. We'll also talk about how the right wing is trying to make a big deal out of Joe Biden's smile. So what? I would have been outright laughing in Paul Ryan's face. Joe Biden was fed up, and who could blame him?
With all due respect, that's a bunch of malarkey.
And why is that so?
Because not a single thing he said is accurate. This is a bunch of stuff. Look, here's the deal.
What does that mean, a bunch of stuff?
Well, it means it's simply inaccurate.
It's Irish.
It's Irish. It is. We Irish call it malarkey.
Thanks for the translation.
No, we Irish call it malarkey.
Malarkey, a bunch of stuff. I love it. I love it. Biden systematically took apart Ryan's arguments for less government, less accountability, less community. It got so bad, Paul Ryan was driven to drink, literally. He went back to that cup of water over and over again. By our last count, at least 21 times. What's the matter there, Mr. Ryan? Got a little cotton mouth? Last night, the Romney-Ryan effort was exposed as a shill for the extreme far right. And Vice President Biden drove that point home again and again today, campaigning right in Ryan's home state of Wisconsin.
It was made clear last night that they don't believe in protecting a woman's access to health care. It was made very clear that they do not believe a woman has a right to control her own body. These are the folks who talk about 47% of the American people being unwilling to take responsibility. It's time Romney and Ryan and the Republican Congress take a pledge of the middle-class people saying, we're going to level the playing field. We're going to get you back in the game. We're going to give you a fair shot again.
Paul Ryan has been saying he wanted a big debate. Well, last night, he got one. And today, their whole dishonest campaign is sorry he did. Joining me now, Dana Milbank, columnist for the Washington Post, and Democratic strategist Margie Omero. Thanks to both of you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Reverend. Dana, Biden put Ryan on the defensive and really the whole Romney-Ryan worldview. But nowhere more than when Biden nailed him on the GOP's attack on the stimulus. Watch.
I love my friend here. I'm not allowed to show letters, but go on our website. He sent me 2 letters saying, by the way, can you send me some stimulus money for companies here in the state of Wisconsin? We sent millions of dollars. You know why he said
you did ask for stimulus money?
Sure he did. By the way,
on 2 occasions, we advocated for constituents who are applying for grants. That's what we do. We do that for all constituents who are.
I love that. I love that. This is such a bad program, and he writes me a letter saying, writes the Department of Energy a letter saying, the reason we need this stimulus, it will create growth and jobs. His words.
Dana, isn't that the crux of the whole hypocrisy of the GOP?
That was my favorite moment of the whole debate, Reverend. Now, we knew about these letters. This had all been reported before. In fact, they've used it in stump speeches. But to see him confronted with it on the stage there, I think that was the essence of what made Biden successful last night. And versions of that were repeated over and over again. Now, you know, the week before, the president thought he was going to rise above the fray and not mix it up like that. Biden showed why you do need to mix it up like that, and you can't allow these things to stand. And he really did it and very successfully tied Ryan to some of the unpopular things the House Republicans have done on issue after issue. He kept it it to him all 90 minutes, I'd say.
And Margie, it wasn't just a got you moment. It was tied to their hypocrisy because they've been making all this hay about they're against the stimulus.
Right, absolutely. I mean, it's a real sign of what people hate about politics when politicians do one thing and say another. And nothing really shows that more than saying, I hate this program, but with the other hand saying, I would actually like this program in my district. And on top of that, Biden really added a lot of detail, so it really was engaging. It was a very specific fact check, but also engaging. I mean, I wish we had Joe Biden, instead of closed captions when Ryan talks, you had Joe Biden, interpreting everything that Paul Ryan said. I mean, it'd be great if we had, Joe Biden captions during Paul Ryan's speech during the convention. I mean, it's important to not let these candidates, get away with saying something that their own actions show they don't believe truly, or, they are playing politics all the time.
Yeah, and another favorite moment for me, Dana, was the Jack Kennedy moment when Ryan struggles to defend Romney's tax plan. Watch this.
You can cut tax rates by 20% and still preserve these important preferences for middle-class taxpayers.
Not mathematically possible.
It is mathematically possible. It's been done before. It's precisely what we're proposing.
It has never been done before.
It's been done a couple of times, actually.
It has never been
Jack
done
Kennedy
before.
lowered tax rates, increased growth. Ronald Reagan.
Now you're Jack Kennedy.
I mean, done exactly right, and it's absurd.
Mm-hmm. I think the Republicans in particular, a lot of folks I saw during the debate and after were saying, that was rude, he wasn't allowing him to talk. You know what? What's wrong with that? I like the idea that he was doing that constant interjection there. It was getting under Ryan's skin. It was rattling him. What's wrong with the grimaces, the laughter, the smiling? Yes, the constant hectoring of this guy, because Biden wasn't doing it to be gratuitous. He was doing it because he's genuinely outraged about the things that Ryan was saying, the policies for one thing, and the misrepresentations for another. So I think getting in his face was just the right medicine last night.
Now, let me ask the big picture political question, Dana, and I want Margie to weigh in as well. Did this rile up the base? And I'm talking about the Democratic base for Mr. Biden, Vice President Biden, and help with undecided, or just did it just help rile up the base?
Well, right. I mean, clearly, it energized the base. There's no question about that. I think people are asking, does that sort of aggressive politics turn off independents or undecideds? Aren't a whole lot of undecideds at this point anyway. I think even if it did that to some extent, what needed to be done last night was to reverse the narrative that had been in place since a week ago, that the Democrats were back on their heels, on the defensive. Joe Biden was not on the defensive last night. He was dominating in every moment of that debate. And I think you see the media narratives are often overdone. It was overdone last week. It may be overdone this week, but it at least changed the way the story is being told now. And that was what Biden really needed to do.
Margie, what was the fallout from this? What was the assets gained by the Democrats, if, in fact, you felt Biden performed well last night?
Well, I think it's clearly a base motivator, but it also worked with undecideds. There was a CBS poll that was done of undecided voters who watched the debate, and half of them said that Biden won, as opposed to like a quarter or a third who said Ryan won. There was a new poll that just got released just as I was heading over here, I think a Reuters poll, and that showed that people thought that Biden won. So I think of the two of the three polls that have been released show that voters gave Biden the edge. It also, really pokes a hole in this myth of Ryan as somebody who, says what he means when he's talking about the facts, because he really hedged in a lot of places. He didn't offer clear distinctions with the president on their foreign policy in numerous cases. He, dodged a question, as the campaign has repeatedly, on what kind of tax deductions they would support. So there's a lot of places where, and obviously the thing that we started talking about, which is the stimulus letters. So it really pokes a hole that Ryan is a sort of policy purist.
Now, talking about where he pauses, it was revealing that he had a long pause when he was asked about abortion rights under the Romney-Ryan administration. Watch this.
If the Romney-Ryan ticket is elected, should those who believe that abortion should remain legal be worried?
We don't think that unelected judges should make this decision, that people through their elected representatives and reaching a consensus in society through the democratic process should make this determination.
You know, that pause says it all. I mean, isn't that pause indicative that Ryan knows their views are really unpopular with the average American voter? Marge?
Well,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, people were trying to compare Biden smiling to Gore's side, but we had an actual Ryan side. And it's something we see sometimes from Ryan where he gets he gets a little testy. He wants to, show that he really, he has some superiority on the issue. And that's what I got from that. And make no mistake, I wrote about this yesterday at Huffington Post. Republicans are on the wrong side of public opinion, even for voters where abortion is not necessarily their number one vote driver. They're still on the wrong side. It's the biggest gender gap in terms of importance to the vote. On top of that, you have for an all-time high, a couple polls now show an all-time high of voters saying, I don't want the government, showing a preference for a certain set of moral values. That's new. We didn't used to have that. That's true now. And so when Ryan and Romney say, well, this is what I believe, and so this is going to be the law, that's on the absolute wrong side. And in fact, Ryan's position, as we've talked about before, Reverend, is very far to the extreme of where even Republicans are.
Now, does that come across clearly, Dana, how extreme their position is? I mean, we're talking about not a debate as you would have a decade ago about pro-life, pro-choice. We're talking about ultrasound invasions. We're talking about people redefining rape, legitimate rape, forcible rape. I mean, this is some extreme stuff we're talking.
Reverend, I think that's also why you saw the pause there, because it wasn't just a debate between Joe Biden and Paul Ryan. There's a debate between Paul Ryan and Mitt Romney, and you could see him saying, am I answering for Mitt Romney in 2012, or am I answering for Paul Ryan in 2016 when he hopes to be running for president? He has a very different position. He was like, okay, I'm going to decide I'll go with the party line and say what it is for now. You saw the same thing, for that matter, on Social Security and Medicare, where he'd said, all right, well, here's my position, but I'm now representing the position of the guy who's chosen me to run with him. So you could see that sort of internal debate within the Republican Party playing out as sort of a sub-theme last night.
Dana Milbank and Margie Omero, thank you both for your time this evening.
Thank you,
Reverend.
Coming up, Joe Biden cut right to the heart of what this election is all about, the fight for fairness. It's the fight we have to have. And privatize Social Security, that's what Paul Ryan said, the true extremism of what Romney-Ryan really want. Plus, Fox News is in an uproar at Joe Biden. He must be doing something right, the right-wing freak out, and why it shows they don't have a leg or an argument to stand on. You're watching Politics Nation on MSNBC.
So now, top 10 the thoughts going through Paul Ryan's mind at the very moment that picture was taken. Number 9, my biceps are cut like taxes for the wealthiest 1%. And the number 1 thought going through Paul Ryan's mind at this moment, maybe now people will take me seriously. There you go.